I'm Eric Cacioppo, and this layout here is kind of been evolving over years and years, and it comes in different configurations. It actually started off as a GBC module, a big setup that had little orange balls being moved around from module to module that fit within the theme of what it was. And now some of those are moved to GBC, and then we've got the standalone here and kind of different stories. But the whole idea is that you've got a kind of a steampunk, kind of Victorian style city or village kind of going on there, and then from there the aliens are kind of invading or landing, and it's kind of that how those two interact and what's going on with that, kind of interaction with it. So, but yeah, here we've got a TAM building here, which eventually will be a GBC module there. It's going to launch balls up into the top. There's a storyline that I put through it, and essentially it is the people from the city have noticed, saw these orange-headed aliens coming and thought they were friendly, and it turned out they weren't. They started turning people into orange balls and invading in that way. So then you've got your heroes. You've got your heroes in the airships, and then you've got on the vehicles and coming there to try to save the people and save the city from the invading aliens. So
I love this kind of courtyard section or kind of central gathering area here with all the entertainment going on.
Yeah, thanks. I really enjoyed this one apart. The nice thing, building this, I've learned to build a little more modular, so I can take that section out and move it to other places, and it's almost like a puzzle in a way that it can change a little bit each time that I put it together, but it's still got that same kind of story. This part here is always, I thought, was fun, with the circus entertainers coming on and juggling and dropping the ball and all the kind of stuff going on. So yeah, I enjoy that kind of part of it a lot. So.
And then if we move outside the kind of fenced-in city section, we get more to the terrain moving towards the aliens. So what's this part like for you? Kind of how'd you imagine this?
So again, this is that kind of where the end of the city kind of, again, ends, and then the outdoor area starts, and how the heroes are kind of going in and approaching up to those aliens, where we've got our big vehicle here, the kind of hunter that's standing up there, and has his vehicles going, and then there's one part of a train, and the rest of the train actually got moved over to a GBC module. So now we got part of the train there. And then the one thing that we integrated a little bit, which are new, and I'll show you there, I've always had a lot of monkeys involved with it. So we've got a few monkeys here, and then eventually you'll see our mechanical monkeys that have made it. Oh, there's a couple of them actually down there in the corner. Those are the mechanical monkeys by the aliens that are coming to attack too. So we've got the kind of other kind of level onto it.
And for this vehicle right here, talk about the big giant red gear there, that piece, and how that incorporates in with the larger vehicle.
Yeah, so as I'm building some of these vehicles, the parts that you use really kind of determine on what it's going to be like. And I saw that's a big old Samsonite gear that fit into there, and it just kind of worked really perfectly there. And so from that, the rest of it evolved. The tracks onto it, the way that it stood up, and something like that. And it does turn and move, but it stands pretty well as it is too.
That's something you see in GBC modules sometimes, but you don't see a lot of regular system layouts.
Right. Well, I kind of combine those two kind of areas together. So yeah, and then we got the Star Wars animals that were up here that I kind of put some eyes onto it, and we got some other heroes, which are from Mouse Guard, right? The heads that were made by
Guy Himber?
Yeah, Himber. That's exactly who it was. He made those there, and I kind of integrated into here. So those are coming up to help out, and then we've got our kind of our octopus. It's kind of going over there, our steampunk octopus. It's going to climb the hill, and some Atlanteans that are helping out, kind of coming into it also. And then you've got the beginning of the actual aliens that are coming down there. And as you can see from here, we've got the Star Wars, the Death Star, kind of from the Planet series years back, was kind of the inspiration for a lot of these different kind of vehicles, and they came onto it. And then this flying saucer I've built, it's probably about 3 years old maybe. And so that was the first one I built, and then it's been evolving and changing the techniques, and it's in the midst of being upgraded, I think, to meet the latest one that I built over here on the end. But yeah. And then this whole table section, I've been trying to integrate more of that elevation up and down and how to get that to go together. So this was kind of the first time I've made it multiple levels as it kind of come there, and it's worked out pretty well, I think, kind of how it changes there. But you can really see you can get the height coming down, looking down onto the city from where the aliens are coming, which is kind of cool. So.
You also get the added advantage of having some lower sections for the kids to look at as well.
Yes, and that's been a really big thing that I've seen a lot of builders that are doing, because a lot of times the kids can't see those things because they're shorter. So by lowering some and again, elevating some, but you get that height, differentiation that different people can enjoy it, is what it comes down to. So yeah. And then as we move along here, we've got, again, some more steampunk, like a submarine vehicle here. And then you've got the orange head aliens and a lot more of our mechanical monkeys that are custom made, I guess, by taking the Ninjago monkey's orange arms off and adding other arms onto them to make them completely metal looking. But yeah, and then it just keeps going on to it. And then you've got the main kind of area where the latest flying saucer that I've built comes down, and you get the mother, the queen, I guess you would say, of the aliens coming up, and again, they're just working their invasion up over the hills until they come over into the city. So yeah, and then the latest flying saucer, I think I finished last week. Actually built half of this tower, which has probably got about 4,000 pieces just in the beam that's coming down there. Just finished it on the drive to this convention, actually, right? But yeah, it's built, and it's been a lot of fun to work with that. But yeah, and it's been fun to integrate that. So
what's the structure of that in there to keep up the whole giant saucer?
So interesting. This is the first time I've used, I would say, non-Lego as a structural piece, because a lot of these larger sculptures might have metal armature or something to help them. So inside there is a clear a clear acrylic tube that goes up, and the acrylic tube is what holds the weight for the flying saucer. And then again, the skin that goes around it is the color that gives it that, with the LEDs that are wrapped around that inside tube. So yeah.
Right, yeah, and then you get those lights going in all the saucers here with the part coming down, and that really just makes the whole thing pop out as people walk by.
Yeah, and I didn't realize when you're looking at that red beam, I was thinking how to make it round, and I figured it out, but then when I come back and look at it now, which I never realized, it does look almost fuzzy-like, with all those little edges, which is really cool. And I didn't, again, things that you don't realize until you get it out there and show it. You're like, awesome. So.
That's a great technique. So then what was set up like for you, because you've got these different kind of levels and everything in the build? What's that like when you bring this to the show?
So this middle section here is actually a custom made. It's 30 by 30, so it usually fits with our tables. It's a wooden base with legs that comes apart, and this is what actually I move the bigger flying saucer in. So there's two of them, and I flip upside down and sandwich them, so that helps. And then the other parts are just tables that I've taken and lowered on top of our moving boxes. So trying to integrate what I'm moving in to use for the build, so I don't have to bring so many things to a show.
Right, so use the packaging that the builds come in and to help display it as well.
Very much so, very much so.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much for bringing it out to the show here. Always great to get your insight on these builds, so appreciate it.